So you may have seen Advantage Campaign Budget pop up in your Facebook ad account. You might be thinking,
oh, what is that?
So I'm going to explain what it is in this video. I'm also going to explain which budget optimization option you want to use after this update. So I'm in an example ad account, and to walk you through this, I'm going to quickly create a campaign, and we're going to go ahead and create a sales campaign in the new ODAX menu. You might have the old campaign objective menu, but at the campaign level, if you scroll down, we'll see here at the bottom, we've got Advantage Campaign Budget. Now, not every single ad account is going to have this yet. Like with all Facebook advertising features, they seem to roll things out in stages to various people, but most will, I think, at this point. Now, Advantage Campaign Budget, you can see, let's quickly read what Meta have to say about it underneath. Advantage Campaign Budget will distribute your budget across ad sets to get more results depending on your delivery optimization choices and bid strategy. You can control spending at each ad set. Now, those of you that are already pretty familiar with the Facebook ad platform will notice that that sounds very, very similar to CBO, Campaign Budget Optimization. It also happens to be in the exact same spot as CBO, Campaign Budget Optimization, in the campaign creation process. And yes, it is a rebranding. As far as we can see, there's no actual changes to the way this works from CBO. They're just changing the naming into Advantage Campaign Budget as opposed to Campaign Budget Optimization, which Meta love to do. They love to rebrand stuff. And it's part of this rollout of Advantage and Advantage Plus stuff that Meta are currently doing within the Facebook. You'll see within your Facebook ad account, there's lots of different things that are popping up. I'll talk more about those in a minute. There's a couple of things that I find interesting about this. Firstly, the default is off, which is the same as what we had with CBO. But the language is more encouraging, I think, to get Facebook advertisers to use this feature. It's called Advantage Campaign Budget. Who doesn't want anything advantage related when it comes to the Facebook and Instagram ad campaigns? Everyone wants advantage. Everyone wants the best results possible. Everyone wants to beat their competitors. So anything that's got advantage in it is going to attract more people, more Facebook advertisers to use it. And I'm sure that this Advantage Campaign Budget is going to have a higher usage rate than Campaign Budget Optimization did, even though it's the same thing, just because of the name. You have to remember there's a lot of Facebook advertising beginners that don't necessarily know the technicalities of these things. And that might sound like a trivial point, but I don't think it actually is. Facebook haven't gone ahead and changed the name of everything. They haven't made everything Advantage or Advantage Plus. They've chosen certain things. I think they've done that on purpose to convince people to use certain things more. Things like automatic placements are now called Advantage Plus placements. They want us as Facebook advertisers to use us. Why do they want us to do that? Because on average, people get better results. And when people get better results, they spend more, Facebook makes more money, etc., etc. So they're incentivized to get us good results. When they change a name of something in a way that's going to encourage people to use it, is because they believe that using it on average is going to be better. And whilst we're covering this updated feature, I think it's important to cover whether or not you want to use Advantage Campaign Budget, what used to be called Campaign Budget Optimization, or whether you want to stick with the default ad set budgets, often referred to as ABO. Now, given the naming convention is an indication of what Meta think, but I also agree, we've done so much testing on this, that the majority of Facebook advertisers want to turn now what's called Advantage Campaign Budget on. You are almost certainly going to get better results, particularly over the short term, if you use this feature as opposed to setting budgets at the ad set level. Because with this feature, more of your budget is going to be spent on the ad sets that deliver the best results. If you've got, say, $100 a day to spend and you had 4 ad sets and you went 25, 25, 25, 25, well, you get the same amount spent on each ad set, whether one ad set is producing a cost per lead of $2 or another ad set is producing a cost per lead of $15. Whereas with this feature turned on, the ad set that's producing a cost per lead of $2 in that scenario is going to get a lot more of the budget, and your overall total cost per lead from that campaign is going to be significantly better. Ad set budgets do provide more control. So if you're the sort of Facebook advertiser that's going to be spending a lot of time in your ad account, doing tons of testing, and you want to make sure that certain amounts are spent on individual ad sets, then you can get data faster because you're forcing spend in different areas. You can work out which elements work best, and then you can optimize specifically for those. So if you're going to be really detailed and on top of things, ABO can work well. Otherwise, for most advertisers, I recommend you go with what used to be called CBO, what's now called Advantage Campaign Budget. Now, with that recommendation, I am assuming that you're using a conversion-based campaign objective. So something like leads or sales in the new ODAX menu. In the previous campaign objective menu, it would be conversions, lead generation, app installs, things like that. And the reason why CBO it's going to take me a while. I'm going to keep getting that wrong, I'm sure. The reason why Advantage Campaign Budget, or ACB, as I'm sure it will come to be known, works well for those conversion-based objectives is because Meta know exactly what you want and they're going to optimize your campaign for that thing. If, for example, you're using a traffic campaign or a video views campaign, something like that, then we would typically use ad set budgets because your campaign is not automatically going to optimize itself for your end result. There's going to be intermediary steps, and you may find from your data that if you're running, say, a traffic campaign, okay, one ad set might produce a lower cost per click, but do those people go on to purchase from your website, for example? Do they go on to make that sale as well? You might be able to track that externally, but not be able to track it within your Facebook ad account, and therefore the greater control becomes more important in that sort of scenario. And as part of the rebranding of Advantage to Advantage Campaign Budget, if we scroll down, you can see that the bid strategy, the campaign bid strategy options have changed. Again, it very much seems like a naming convention thing, but it's important you know this, otherwise it can get really confusing. So you can see that the campaign bid strategy, the default is now highest volume. Now, that's the same as what used to be called lowest cost, and this varied a lot between ad accounts. Some previous ad accounts would just have lowest cost, some would have lowest cost and highest volume, all sorts of different options there depending on what sort of campaigns you typically run, even location of your Facebook ad account in terms of in the world and things like that. But highest volume is the default, and that's what I would recommend that most Facebook advertisers use. Just be aware that if this changes and you find it confusing, that's the same as lowest cost. If you think about it, it is effectively the same because you're trying to get as much of your desired result for however much you're spending. Those two things come out at the same place. As I said, this change to Advantage Campaign Budget is more of a rebranding of an existing feature. There are a few other examples of that. If I go to the ad set level and scroll down, we can see, there we go. We've, instead of automatic placements, you've now got Advantage Plus placements. Again, it's a similar rebranding, but there are actually some new features and some changes to the way things work within this Advantage and Advantage Plus rollout. I'm going to be covering those in videos in the next few months. Make sure you subscribe to keep an eye on those. Some of them are really, really interesting. Okay, and before you go, there's something I want to mention that I think you might be very interested in, and that's my company's Facebook and Instagram advertising services. So my company, Lead Guru, is a specialist Facebook and Instagram ad agency. We create, manage, and optimize campaigns for our clients. And if you'd like us to run your Facebook and Instagram ad campaigns, help you get better results, that's something we may well be able to help you with. If you want to find out more information, you can click a link in the video description below. We do have a 3K per month minimum budget requirement, so please only book a call if you're at that budget level or about to be at that budget level. But if you are, we'd love to work with you. Go ahead and book a free no obligation call and find out some more info. And finally, there's a tool that very few Facebook advertisers know about, but you can use it to find out exactly how many other Facebook advertisers are targeting the same audiences as you. I'll show you exactly how it works in this video here, and you can use it to find less competitive, which are less expensive target audiences. It's well worth doing, can really improve your results.